The fertile bush of New South Wales teems with all manner of life, much of it malignant, some of it lethal, and all of it extremely threatening to a mollycoddled European. So it was with some trepidation that I hiked up a remote Australian hillside one warm, humid morning to be buried alive by a man called Graham. I'd asked for just one assurance, that when I wanted him to dig me out, he would. He said he'd think about it. I'd be lying if I said I was looking forward to this. To be honest, I'm quite apprehensive. The hole I've got to dig is actually referred to as my grave. It's quite macabre imagery, really. And I've been told there are leeches and spiders, snakes, dingoes. It costs $50 to get buried. You provide the shovel and pack lunch. It's an initiation ceremony that Graham has devised himself, based on what he says is his knowledge of Aboriginal and Central American tribal rituals, and intended to take you to a new level of spiritual awareness. It all happens on a piece of land belonging to John, who's to be buried alongside me today. My God. It's a graveyard. Stones and shrubs mark the sites of previous burials. As experienced bushmen, Graham and John know which side of a campfire to sit on. Unfortunately, I don't.
Well, Peter, John, it seems like it's been a bit of an initiation just getting here with all the rain and things. This next part of what's going on here this afternoon is digging your graves. Your graves are going to have to be deep enough that you can't dig yourselves out, because you're releasing something of the old and you're literally creating the circumstances for something new to arise in your life.
How many people have you buried?
I've buried 116 people.
How are people when they come out, usually? They do come out, I take it.
They're relieved, generally speaking. Intensely relieved. I can be seen as a torturer insofar as I don't necessarily release people simply when they ask to be dug out. The whole purpose of initiation is to actually take you through a barrier. It involves cycles of pain and release. And the only way to move through it is by surrendering. Surrendering and surrendering and surrendering. Some people urinate in the hole, and that in itself is in fact a major release that will almost invariably trigger some sort of childhood memories and things, and is actually a very useful tool in itself for releasing old stuff.
Right. Glad I didn't wear the suit then. I'm thinking that this will be my spot, actually. I think I might lie facing that way, which is the east, sunrise and all that. It's kind of odd, this. I've often thought when I'm in the graveyard, in the church, in the village I live in, I'm often thinking perhaps I should pick a plot, you know? But I've somehow never been able to bring myself to do it. It seems, I don't know, it seems too cold-blooded in some ways to go and pick your own. Ooh. Gosh, I'm gonna need burying after this, I think. It's not a 10-minute job, is it?
No, it's not a 10-minute job. This is generally a 6-hour job, and it depends upon your own personality to some extent and the nature of the things that you are dealing with in your life as to what you call in, because all of this is simply a living expression of yourself.
Graham believed that any obstacles we encountered in our digging would be symbolic of problems we were experiencing in our lives. John had very heavy problems.
John was telling me that he wanted to sort of clear all the major blocks in his life, so...
There's only one way for it to go, and that's out of the hole, because I'm going in there.
Sure.
Just about there now.
Now, I don't know what this is. Don't think we have these where I come from. But it is putting me off the thought of being in the ground with it, I think.
Imagine my delight a few minutes later when I unearthed one of the most deadly spiders in Australia.
Right, well, I don't think I want to be getting in there with him in there.
So is that symbolic of your female web?
No, that's symbolic of the Pommy's fear of spiders.
No, I truly believe that none of these things, whether it be the big rock in the middle of John's grave or the spider in your grave, come for no reason at all. I believe that somewhere you have actually not only drawn it to yourself for you to see on the one side, but you have also symbolically set yourself free of it without actually killing it, because a lot of people would respond and simply kill automatically because...
Oh no, actually that never occurred to
Yeah.
me, to kill it. Never occurred to me. But then it wasn't impaled on my undercarriage at the time, was
Yeah.
it? I've got two little sort of buttock grooves there. There they are, they seem to fit. A little hole down here for my feet. And, oh yeah, that's feeling better. It's just that I need support for my neck or my head, I think, because it would be quite nice to, at least if I had my head forward like this, I'd have a bit of a view, you know. Whereas I'm just looking at the sky like this, it would be a bit dull on a cloudy night, wouldn't it? Not a lot to think about. So if I could get my head up like this, then I suppose I could see the spiders and the bush rats coming.
If you clean away under your bum cheeks and things like that, you will find that the support is much better. You can give yourself maximum support in it.
Graham, I think you find that you can't say bum cheeks on Channel 4.
I'm sure Graham realised that my flippancy was just a cover for deep-rooted terror. A short time later, my sense of humour went noticeably missing when I was bitten on the throat by a giant tick. The side effects can range from mild pain to deep coma. Help was at hand in the form of Stuart, a local stills photographer who himself has a potentially fatal allergy to tick bites.
Where do they come? Are they just in the
They're
air?
in the grass.
I was
They'll
standing
come
up.
on the dog. The dog's got one right there, I can see.
I'll give you some rescue remedy.
This is good too.
Interesting, though, that as we're preparing to do this, first of all, the big spider appears, and then as I'm trying to eat a humble bit of dinner before getting into the grave, I get bitten on the throat.
So what is it that you're holding in? What is it that you're not expressing?
What now?
It's your throat. It's a living symbol.
Well, I've never been accused of not talking enough. That has to be said. I don't know what I'm holding in.
A growing irritation with Graham, perhaps.
Just getting some layers on before I go into the ground. Apparently it can be quite cold in there. Cold as the grave. Ha!
Okay, well, it's that time of the day where it's time to go in. And beforehand, I feel it's a good idea to let go of all limiting thoughts. Don't fight that which is your primary culture, that which supports you. If you allow it to love you, it will nurture you and it will speak to you of your very foundations. This is basically a living resurrection. If either of you have any specific prayers that you would like to make, now would be a time to make them. Time to make the journey, gentlemen.
Yep.
When I saw that John was being buried sitting up, with head and shoulders apparently above ground level, I began to fear that I'd taken on a less comfortable and more stupid option. I was beginning to feel jealous of John. He also had a much better costume. As the daylight faded, there was suddenly a ferocious cacophony of insects, as if this were what they'd been waiting for all day, the cover of darkness.
It's a little bit like the Shroud of Turin, really.
Cross between that and the sack race at convent school. But this wasn't a joke anymore. I found myself thinking of the shiny black spider's bulbous sack of poison and of death, in precisely that order.
I never knew the earth smelled so strong.
You ready to go down? Let's just begin by filling in over your feet first. As the sun goes down, just allow your energies to descend with it into the earth. Allow yourself to climb into that matter and look back on yourself from it. Suck in your earth body. You are the earth. Allow yourself to diffuse into all the different elements outside of yourself.
I don't know why, but I hadn't expected the soil to be so heavy.
I also hadn't fully thought through the fact that with my arms completely trapped, I had no way of fending off the slime-secreting, venom-encrusted, razor-toothed wildlife of the night. Sensing my discomfort, Graham tried to help, but only conjured up visions of the worst scenario yet.
And I've got some salt, which will ensure that no leeches cross over and gobble you during the night.
What about the spiders? How are they on salt?
I would imagine that they wouldn't be too keen either, really.
Bush rats?
I think I would consider that a blessing if I was visited by one of them during the night. How's that?
That's fine.
And you're beautiful.
How do you reason with a man who thinks a rat in the night is a blessing?
One thing I've always really kicked myself for. Getting stuck in a strange place and not having brought anything to read.
You don't feel as though perhaps there's not heaps to read coming in all over your body right now?
Not strong on irony, your average outback hippie shaman, but why should he worry? I'm the one in the hole.
Pine.
2 hours had passed since Graham had buried me. He was now 60 or 70 yards away, behind me, where I couldn't see him, by the fire. For me, there was just the dark.
Strange thing is, at the moment, I don't feel any of the kind of insect snake panic, nor the oh my God, I'm buried alive panic that I was expecting. All I feel is an extremely uncomfortable right knee and pair of calves. I think, with the benefit of hindsight, I would bury myself in another position. Perhaps I should have buried myself sitting up like John did. John, how are you?
Well, yes,
I'm okay. Are you comfortable?
very.
Already feel like I've gone through a few little barriers.
But I suppose there's a whole tradition of kind of inflicting pain in major religions as well as in in whatever this is. And there's all that, you know, there's flagellation and self-punishment and people making pilgrimages up mountains with their bare feet and stuff. But I mean, I've never bought in on that one, I have to say. Though I was happy to give this a crack. But once it gets to your spine hurting, I kind of think we start to get into a dangerous area. I'd expected psychological terror in here. And what I'm getting instead is physical pain, which wasn't... Maybe I'm naive, but it's not what I bargained for. It's scaring me, this losing all sensation in my left foot.
It is scary.
It was the right one at the beginning, but that's... I mean, the right one's just uncomfortable. It's this sort of like... I'm getting sort of... It's like waves. It's pins and needles followed by total lack of feeling in the left leg.
So it's throwing you into your right side, which is your male side, which is about determination in your life.
Oh, bloody hell. I have very bad spine pain here. Do you hear what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. At this stage, I'd like you just to try and deal with the problem yourself, so long as you keep on putting it out for others. All it's going to do is to actually confirm the pain that you're feeling. Where's the problem?
Problem's at the base of my spine and the weight that is down on me.
Spine is a major area. It's about being able to support yourself in all the situations that you're...
Yeah, that's the spine on one level. The spine on the other level is the physical thing that makes the rest of you work.
I understand that. I know that you're not being damaged by this process.
How do you know that?
Because I have been buried 4 times.
Well, maybe you weren't lying in the position that I'm lying in. I have no support for my knees, but I've lost the feeling in one foot. My spine is hurting me. Do you hear what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. It's not an easy process.
Do you believe that there's spiritual benefit in inflicting pain on people against their wills?
I believe that...
Short answer.
I believe that catharsis is a necessary ingredient in all growth.
Do you believe that inflicting physical pain on people against their will is spiritually beneficial? And if so, for who? For me or for you?
I can release you, but I will release you with the full knowledge that you take responsibility for any sense of failure that you may arrive at through having gotten unburied and suddenly finding what you're feeling is primarily a psychological pain. You're just looking at fears.
No, honestly, I was looking at intense spinal pain. I didn't expect to lie here and have you to talk to me about failure. I thought the thing in this was that one reached one's own threshold. If I'm saying to you that I've conquered immense fears of mine, I don't know, if that's failure to you, then good on you.
To me, it's not failure. What I am telling you is that the mind plays tricks. It fully plays tricks with every single person who's buried. For me, you cannot fail. For yourself, however, in your own self-image...
I have no problem. If we're talking about failure, for my own self-image, I've already won. I've got in, so I have no... Don't worry about my self-image.
In this process, for everybody, there is a place of catharsis that seems excruciating, just as the woman delivering a child, because they don't want to actually face the pain that is in there. But when they actually step through, they come away with a whole child.
Yeah, well, I might only come away with a bad back. If there was a child in this for me, I might...
You won't come away with a bad back, but...
Graham, mate, you don't know that. With all respect, you're not a doctor. Oh!
I have buried doctors. I know...
I'd like to... A couple of GPs I know I'd like to bury, but that's neither here nor there.
It is difficult.
Ow!
You understand, I didn't put you through anything. You asked...
Oh, no,
me
I
to bury.
chose. I chose, yeah, absolutely.
And
But you've
I'll
said
dig
that...
you- I'll dig you out now if you wish to come out, please.
No, I'd like to continue our discussion. But you've said 3 times that there's no failure, but then you go on to find a different form of words to suggest there is. And I'm saying to you, that's just semantics, that's just playing with words. I don't want to come out at this second. I'll stay here a little bit longer. But when I want out, I come out. Is that the deal? I took that as a no. Look, Graham, I'm gonna say this calmly, and I think I've reached my limit. My spine, my back is hurting a lot, and it's starting to scare me and make me think that I have responsibilities to other people in my life and to myself. And so it's been a pleasure, mate, but I'd really like to get out now.
Okay. I'll say this calmly. I believe that in the circumstances, it is wisest if you dig yourself out,
Okay.
so that you gain some sense of control over your own birthing process, because this is a birthing process,
Okay,
whichever way.
take some weight off me. It's killing. Oh. I suppose this is the first time in 3.5 hours that I've consciously tried to physically do something.
Your voice down a wee bit,
Like-
please.
Well, I'll say what I want. Oh,
You're influencing other people who are in their process too.
Well, I know,
this
but-
is for television.
I know, but come on, Graham. Since I've been in here, I've been listening to your conversation for the last 3 hours. That affected my process. Oh. Oh. The things you say about what you think it achieves, then maybe that is what it achieved for you, and maybe it's what it did achieve for some people. I might be able to tell you in a week or two's time what it's achieved for me.
I could introduce you to 116 people.
I think I was foolish in the position I chose. I do think that. Let's get out of here. My feet are trapped still. No, I think just when we loosen the feet here, then I won't feel so much that I'm in a Coen Brothers movie. Oh.
I said to you when you got buried, it's really important to support all your different parts.
Sure.
So what to me it's speaking of is about a need for you in your life to listen to all the information that's being given to you, so that you don't have to put yourself in that situation.
Where's the fire? Oh.
You're still caught.
Argos, shopping made easy.